everyone, this is Sandra at Spirit of Avalon. So today I thought I would show you my Limelight decks. Now this will be a VR to Simon over at the Hermit's Cave, who showed his Limelight decks on CC&C. So these are the decks that kind of always kind of push themselves forward. They're always like, when you look along your shelf, they're like me all the time, me elbowing the others out of the way, get out of the way, choose me. Giving voice to decks now. But you know, there is always these ones that seem to like say choose me. So I've chosen here about, I've got 5 tarot and I've got 4 oracles. So we'll start with the tarot decks. So the first one is quite a newish one actually, Tarot of the Elves. But this one, it's like on my top shelf, and it's, when I look along the shelf, it's like, hello, I'm here. I'm a nice friendly deck, come and use me. So yeah, so this is Tarot of the Elves, this is the backs. I've shown this recently, so I won't spend too much time on it, but it is like a nice, like, if you want like a, you know, a good mood deck, a happy deck, this would definitely be it. This isn't a kick you up the butt deck, it's a softer deck, I find. I mean, it still gives you the answers, but it does it in a gentler way. I mean, if I want a deck that's going to be harder and, you know, give me that kick up the butt and tell me things that I don't particularly want to hear, I'd probably pick something like the Deviant Moon, because that always does that for me. But you know, Tarot of the Owls, it's so lovely, and I know the owls have been done in different colours, not everybody likes that, but it's such it. And when you're using this deck, or when I'm using this deck, it always makes me smile. Even just if I was just flicking through the cards, it just always makes me smile. So that's my first Limelight deck that is quite new, but it's pushed itself to the fore and said, hey, I'm here, use me. So that is Tarot of the Owls, is my first choice of tarot decks. The second one, and I've had this quite a while, quite a few years, is the new Babylonian Tarot. And with this one, it was really weird. I got it from eBay and it was a Kickstarter. But something drew me with this. I'd never been sort of attracted to like Babylonian myths or things to do with that before, but this just, I couldn't not have it, you know. It was one of those decks, and this one also on the top shelf because of the size of the box, always kind of calls me to use it. It's got a really annoying deck insert though, I'll show you. It's one of those horrible like 2-piece things. I do need to get a bag for this deck really, but yeah, so I will show you this. So this is the new Babylonian Tarot. These are the backs, quite nice backs, glossy cards, gold gilded. It's wearing off a bit at the edges because I've, like I said, I've had it a long time, but this one will make itself known and say, hey, don't forget me. I know I'm an older deck, but I'm still a good one. And this reads really well. I find this easy to read with. Of course, it's very Rider-Waite Smith, which I love anyway. But it's just these figures, these like figures from like old Babylonia. It's just, so I think, I'm not sure because I'm rubbish with geography and things like that, but I think what was Babylon is now Iraq or Iran, one of them, I think. I could be wrong. But there was just something about this. I mean, look at that tower card. It is so cool, that tower card. I love it. So this one, I do get out quite a lot when it kind of calls to me from the shelf. And these decks are not necessarily my favourite decks, these Limelight decks, but they're ones that always kind of shout to be used, but it's not necessarily the ones that I would go to the shelf and naturally be thinking of pulling, like my Forest of Enchantment tarot. I would naturally think of that. That isn't in this selection, not because it doesn't call to me, because it kind of calls to me all the time, but it's not because, well, I say it calls to me all the time, it's like in my mind all the time, but it's not what I would call a Limelight deck where it's like pushing itself forward all the time. So yeah, so this is the new Babylonian Tarot, which I don't even know if you can even get this one anymore, so I'm sorry guys if this is out of print. It might be, it was a Kickstarter but from quite a while ago. I wonder if it says on the back actually when this is from, because you see it says funded on Kickstarter on it, but it might tell me in the book. 2018, so it's not old, but like I said, I don't know if you can still get it or not, but that's another one. Then we have the Ethereal Visions. This one always, as soon as I approach the shelf, this one's always there, almost like it's like literally pushing itself forward on the shelf, like use me. And yeah, these are the backs, and I know there's another one made by the same creator. I think it's called, is it called, this one is the Ethereal Visions. It's is it Lunar Visions or something? Because what they've done is put more representation of different skin colours and things like that into the deck. I don't have that one. I was thinking of getting it because of this one I use so much. I thought, should I get that new one? So I might do at some stage, just to see how it is, see if it behaves in the same way. It probably won't behave in the same way at all, but this one always does, and I love all this like gold foiling on this one. I think the other one has silver foiling on it, I think, but I may well get that at some point. I love this devil card in this deck. Look at it, so cool. Always loved that. And when I first got this deck, this card was coming up all the time, but this is a deck that I had to like sage and everything, but yeah, the devil was coming up all the time in it. I thought, oh god. But yeah, I love this one, and it was edged, not by me, this was edged by Simon, because this deck was gifted to me by Simon a long time ago, but I do still love this, and it always pushes itself forward, always, and I always keep, because it came with this little bag of like herbs and this like worry stone with it, so I always keep those with it always as well. And actually the deck still smells of those herbs unbelievably, even after years of having it. Another Limelight deck, Tarot of the Sheen, and this one is more forceful. This one, literally, if it could jump off the shelf at me, it would. I'm sure. But I find like the fact, even now just touching this, I get goosebumps with it, because and I edged it in black. I kept the borders on because I wanted to keep them on. I didn't mind, and edging it in black I thought was cool. But this one would literally, if it could throw itself at me, it would. But the Fae in this deck, I find them quite strong personalities in this deck. They really kind of hit home with their messages, I find. I don't know why I'm doing it like that. This isn't a walkthrough. Yeah, I find that they really kind of, they tell you it how it is. This is another one that would kind of kick you in the butt. Because the Fae, they don't mess around, and particularly in this deck, they don't mess around. They will give you that message, whether it's a message you want to hear or not. You will get that message from them. Yeah, but I love the colours and everything in this deck as well, and I don't mind. I mean, a lot of them are like renamed, like the suits, Dreamer 10 and things, but you can get used to that. It's not like a problem. But I've had this deck for years as well, but I could never let it go, because it's like, I know these Fae. It's like, it's as if they could, you know, if I looked at them long enough, they'd move, like their heads would move and things. A bit like if anyone's watched Harry Potter, and when they get the newspapers and the figures move in it, I could imagine the Fae doing that with this deck. But it's very magical, but it's kind of, I don't know if hard hitting is the right word, because that might be a bit too much, but yeah, I mean, some people actually find this scary. But I think the other thing that I like is that these Fae kind of look a bit alien-esque, and I do like alien type decks and things as well. I mean, just look at this Warrior King. How cool is that? But I do love this deck. I could just sit and just look at it. But yeah, so that is another one that always, I think even if it was behind some other decks, it would almost be shouting at me, come on, move those other decks out the way, get me out. So that is Tarot of the Sheen, which is another one that I've had for ages, and I really like. So that's that one. And the last tarot deck, now I'm sorry guys, this is out of print. This was a limited edition from 2008. This is the Whispering Tarot, and it's a little diddy deck. It's a little tiny one. But it's got a big voice. You see, it was number 263. But it's got quite a big voice, because not really when you're using it. It's another one that's quite gentle, but it kind of sings at me from the shelf. Don't forget about me. I might be little, but I give good messages, and I can help you. Even if I do it in a more gentle way. But sometimes it doesn't. This deck, you know, it does tell it like it is. Even though it might be small. It's a bit like I always say about pug dogs, you know, the dog breed pugs, they kind of go along. They're small, but they're like, I might be small, but I'm hard. That's what this deck is like, small but hard. But it can be gentle as well. It can. And it just feels kind of magical, this deck. I mean, look at some of these images. And it does just feel magical. It's another one that I could never let go of. Love that Hermit. So yeah, so that is the Whispering Tarot, which I apologise because it is out of print, but then you never know, on eBay or trade groups sometimes these things do come up, but it is pocket sized. But I mean, it's one, I suppose, that you could take away with you because it's small, but I never do because I'd be worried about losing it, because it's not one that I could get again. So that's that one. So now we're on to the Oracle deck. So let's start with the large one, and again, this is reasonably recent. I got this from the shop in Chesterfield when I was with Simon last time. And this is the Fairy Wisdom Oracle, and this one will often call to me. It comes with a nice hardback book to work with it. And the thing is, I think it must have actually called me from the shelf in the shop, actually, because it wasn't the one that I thought it was. And I've told this story before, that it wasn't the deck that I thought it was, but it was the deck that I needed, not the other one, actually. And this card is a special card to me because it means something to me, which, you know, is private. But yeah, so this one, just like, it's so lovely to use. Sometimes I'll pull just one card, or sometimes I'll pull two of these. But it's not. This one is nice to use with the Linda Ravenscroft Mystic Fairy Tarot. So these are really nice together, those two. The Mystic Fairy Tarot and this one go really well together if you want to like pair decks. But the artwork on this is just lovely. It's got a bit of a sheen to it, but this one always, I think every time I go near the tarot shelves, this one like calls to me all the time. So definitely, I love that, the Brat. This one definitely is a Limelight deck. And it's so strange, you know, the way it came to me as well. And, you know, I even had to get Simon to get it down from the top shelf because he's nice and tall and I couldn't reach. But, yeah, I love it. It's a definite Limelight one, this one. Definitely recommend this. Another one, this won't be a surprise to anyone. Everyone's going to go, oh, what a shocker. The Mists of Avalon. This one always, again, it is a Limelight deck. It's one of my favourites, but it is also a Limelight deck because it does call to me to use it a lot of the time. And it works so well for me, but I think it's just me and my connection to Glastonbury. So we won't stay on this one too long because you've all seen this before. But it does, and it gives really good messages. And, you know, it's actually quite be helpful actually for a beginner because you've got like things like new beginnings and realignment and different words around the edge to help you out if you get like a bit stuck, even though you do have the guidebook as well. But see, you know, things like the White Spring it's another one that gives me goosebumps, this deck, every time. But it does always call to me from the shelf to be worked with. So that is the Miss of Avalon Oracle deck by Rose in Sarah. That is that one. Next we have Kyle Gray deck, Angels and Ancestors, and I've had this since it first came out, I think. And I love this deck. It's so good. Since the very first moment I had this deck, the readings are just amazing with this, just so perfect. I don't have any of Kyle Gray's other decks, but this one, just every time the cards were just like perfect. Every time the reading's so good, but this one calls to me all of the time. I mean, sometimes I have to like think, right, no, I'm not going to pick you this time, because literally it would come out every single time I went to the shelf if I didn't sometimes just say, right, no, I'm going to use something different. I mean, if the feeling's very, very strong, then I will use it, but this deck has been used a lot. It has been used a lot, this one, and you know, it is really good. And I know, you know, it's a Hay House deck and not everyone loves that, but yeah, definite Limelight deck again. And then I've just got one more, guys, which is a Oracle deck to show you. And this is a indie deck. This is the Old Ways Magic Oracle, which comes in this lovely bag. And this is by Naomi Cornock, and you can find her on Instagram. She does still sell this deck. I think she's doing another edition, but I could be wrong. It comes with a little book. So that is there. And these cards are, they are so good. These cards are magical. And it is one that, you know, it's kind of tucked away because it's in its little box, because the box is quite narrow, even though the cards are large. That even though it's like tucked away on the shelf between other decks, it kind of says, I'm here, don't forget me. Bring some magic into your life today. Choose me. Bring some pagan magic into your life today, because this is a very pagan type deck, as you can see, and the artwork on this is just absolutely amazing. I love Naomi's artwork. If she did another deck, I would be there straight away. Even if she did this same deck with added cards or something, I would still get it. And you can buy her artwork separately as well. She often goes to the witches markets in Glastonbury, because she actually lives in Devon, I think it is. But yeah, love this. Look at that. Oh, this just speaks to me, this deck. It is amazing. Look, wild mage making some wild magic. And yeah, it's one that pushes itself forward, but it pushes itself forward gently. And as I said, it says, don't forget me, even though I'm hear amongst other decks, and I never do. I always hear its voice. So yeah, that is the Old Ways Magic Oracle by Naomi Cornop. And as I said, if you just type in, even in Google, Old Ways Magic Oracle, it will come up with her website, but her website is here actually. It's www.gnomeart.com if you did want to find her on the web. And as I say, she does have Instagram as well. So yeah guys, so that, once I manage to actually close this box, I'll do it later. So that is all of my Limelight decks. They're the ones that shout at me the most. I mean, I suppose the Deviant Moon probably does as well, but only under certain circumstances. That's why I haven't included it here, because that's one where if you're going through some tough stuff or you need a kick up the butt, then it'll be Deviant Moon. But yeah, so that is my Limelight decks. I hope you all enjoyed seeing these. And it's very hot here in the UK. It's supposed to be getting even hotter at the weekend. So yeah, but and as usual, we're not as used to it as other countries, and we don't have air conditioning, or most people don't anyway. So yeah, but anyway, I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.